Hello, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending this session, and thanks to DMG for having me today. Actually, the last time I was here was before the pandemic, so it's very exciting to be back. So this session is about disruptive technologies in the construction industry and how they will affect the future of the profession. So my name is Hussein Mahran. I'm an architect and project management and sustainability certified professional. I'm currently heading the BMO at Naga Architects in Dubai. So first of all, we'll explain what is a disruptive technology. Then we'll go briefly through examples of new technologies that are changing the construction industry. Then we'll see how the future of the architecture profession and the architecture, engineering, construction, or AEC industry will be, and how to adapt with these new technologies without losing the human sense, especially in architecture. Okay, so first of all, what is a disruptive technology? The dictionary defines the word disruptive as causing or trending disruption, but also as innovative or groundbreaking. And in business, the term disruptive technology has been trending for a while, and it refers to the technologies that can change the rules of the game or reshuffle the cards. For instance, cryptocurrency is a disruptive technology in the financial sector. Tesla, for example, is a disruptive technology in the automotive industry. Sorry. And the construction industry isn't immune to change either. Disruptive technologies in the construction industry have been emerging for decades now. And I have personally witnessed a few of them over the years. So let me take you back to the years of my graduations near the end of the 90s, when architecture studios actually looked like this, or this, or this. And then AutoCAD happened as a disruptive technology at that time, a disruptive technologies that changed how we draft our drawings and then changed even how we think. And of course, AutoCAD started way before the year 2000, but this is the oldest image I could get. So at that time I used to work as an intern in an architecture studio, a big architecture studio in Alexandria, Egypt. And because I was one of the very few that could, at that time, work with AutoCAD or work with computers in general, I used to work with a couple of young men and women, and we used to sit in a small, neglected corner in a huge hall, as you can see here in the previous photos. And everybody in that huge hall was wondering what exactly we were doing with these computers. They were completely oblivious to the fact that within only 2 years, there will only be computers in this hall. And all these traditional drawing tables will be scrapped. Unfortunately, most of them have lost their jobs or had to switch to other careers. Then a few years later, Revit happened. And again, we saw a new generation that can use this magical new tool much more efficiently than we do. Revit, or BIM in general, was a new disruptive technology that took the industry to a whole new level. You are now, with Revit, you are not only using a computerized drafting tool instead of drafting on paper, you are building a database of your project with a smart tool that understands the details and properties of every element of your project across multiple disciplines. A tool that allows collaboration in the same model, or a tool that can detect clashes or can calculate quantities, or even can simulate the motion of the sun over your building. So we learned how to use Revit, and it quickly became the dominant standard worldwide. And because of these drastic changes, architecture studios now look more like this, or this, or this. Okay, so what are some examples of new technologies that are, of new disruptive technologies that are trending today, that are trending nowadays? There is actually a wide spectrum of new technologies that are covering the planning stage, the design stage, the construction stage, and even the operational maintenance. Examples of these are BIM, or Building Information Modeling, which is actually not a new trend, but it has been here, it has been there for a while, but its applications have matured over the time, over the years, to dominate the construction industry. So you've probably heard of this iconic building, the Museum of the Future in Dubai, and you can imagine how sophisticated and complex the design was with all these irregular forms, and how catastrophic it could be to coordinate between these multiple intersecting engineering systems without the help of BIM. In my opinion, the coordination capabilities is what makes BIM really essential. But what's most revolutionary about BIM is the ability to detect and highlight clashes between disciplines, as we can see here in another example. Okay, so next is drones, and drones are being widely used in construction sites to report progress, or even to detect discrepancy between the design model and the physically constructed items. And we at Naga Architects are using drones in almost all of our construction sites. So there are many applications for drones. For instance, drones are widely used in land surveying, in conjunction, of course, with some supporting computer applications for instance, surveying the current status of a site, identifying the existing obstacles, or for creating topographic modeling of the site. And drones are also used in creating 3D models of existing buildings, or detecting defects, as you can see here, or for reporting the progress of construction. Next is augmented reality. And augmented reality has also evolved from an entertainment tool to a very effective method of inspection in construction sites. So the new applications of augmented reality help inspectors and construction managers to walk through a real construction site and compare the completed items to the 3D model, the 3D design model. It also helps in detecting any possible discrepancy or non-conformance to building codes in the site. And it can even help experimenting multiple possible alternatives before taking a decision in the site. Okay, then next is prefabrication, and prefabrication is not a new trend either. However, it has been now being widely used to fast-track projects, especially in the social housing and in the crisis relief missions. So here is a full 7-floor apartment building being assembled in site in only 11 days. by stacking prefabricated units. And it definitely requires a very thorough and sophisticated design process to create a proper systematic unit that can be easily repeated in a matrix of horizontal and vertical repetitions in order to create a building. But it is proven to be very cost and time effective. Parametric design. And parametric design can be linked to BIM, as it depends mainly on multiple complex computerized algorithms that were almost impossible to process in the past. So with complex shapes like this, designers use softwares like Grasshopper, Rhino, Maya, etc., and all of which are based on complicated programmed relationships between variables in order to come up with these iconic and unique designs that are in the same time completely flexible to change or modification with a couple of clicks. And that can even follow a predefined protocol to change their shape, as you can see here. So parametric design software is what made buildings like these possible and doable. Now, 3D printing and construction robotics, and this also can be linked to BIM, as it's also a computerized application that can change the whole game. So, for instance, this building, this is a real building in Dubai that was completely 3D printed inside using only one machine. It's a complete building of 2 floors with all its structural reinforcement and all. And the building is now being actually used as one of the premises, of the official premises of Dubai municipality. It is not built just as a demonstration of the technology of 3D printing. Okay, so now how does all of this affect the future of architecture profession and the whole architecture, engineering, construction industry? Well, the constant disruption of these new technologies is one of the reasons why we are living now in what is defined as VUCA world, where we are facing the challenges of volatility meaning that we have to react or adapt to rapid, unpredictable changes. Uncertainty, so a significant volume of risks have to be considered all the time. Complexity, where there is a complicated network of interdependencies and that creates multiple decision factors. And ambiguity, where there are many known unknowns and unknown unknowns, as we always say in the project management field. Okay, now we come to the million-dollar question. The challenges that we are facing is how to adapt with the new technologies without losing the human sense, especially in architecture, because on one hand, you are obliged to adapt to these new technologies that will inevitably limit your human margin of decision making. But on the other hand, architecture is a creative profession where you have to always be innovative and you have to have your own signature, unique signature. So yes, you can have, you may use tools like this to determine the most efficient configuration at some stage of the design, but you cannot just sit back and watch a machine design a building on your behalf. Because architecture is obviously not only about space planning, it's there is the cultural and the environmental and the aesthetical context as well. And here comes your margin of creativity. So the old school methods of sketching and modeling will always be beneficial during the conceptual stage of design. It is the method by which we investigate or question the alternatives or ideas or approaches that we have until we find the best alternative or the best couple of alternatives to move forward with. So it's still us humans that can innovate and create designs that are in line with the context where the project is. So whether you are an architect or an engineer or a project manager in the construction industry, you will definitely need to get yourself familiar with new technologies. Maybe you'll not use all the technologies that we have showed before. Maybe you'll use other technologies. But you have to find out what's important to your specialization and start familiarizing yourself with it now. Because I guarantee you that sooner or later, one day, a couple of young men and women will sit there in a small neglected corner of your studio or your office or your construction site, and you will wonder what exactly they are doing. And before you know it, everything will change. And unless you are familiar with whatever technology they are using, you will just be obsolete. This is how it is, and this is what I have already seen several times. Well, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much. My contact email is on the screen. If there's any question, of course, questions are welcome. Yes?
How we can integrate between applications of the new application in the whole and the design that is provided by the
Sorry, I don't get that question.
Actually, we have seen really videos from future applications in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Imaginary design.
You mean the new projects like Neom, Gidea? Yeah.
How we can say it is a different from the real that design for using?
We are always able to question designs and to investigate ideas. We don't just take the ideas as it comes from the West. If you know what I mean. Of course, we have our own culture. We have our own context. This is what I was saying about the environmental context, the cultural context. Of course, not everything that is suitable for the United States is suitable for Saudi Arabia. So this is actually the core of my session. But there are, of course, new technologies, and we have to learn them and we have to adapt to them. But we are still the humans. We own this. The Saudi Arabians own this land. So they decide what they want and what they don't want. Other questions? Thank you so much. Yes, please.
I just want to ask one question, not related to that. Only related to that disruptive technology. In management, do you think there's any disruptive technology with the interface with management as a project management or anything?
Yes, I think, for example, I've been using several technologies now in project management, like what we call PMIS, Project Management Information System. There are several types of these software. So with our missions with the Saudi government, we have used a software called PMWeb. It could be defined as a disruptive technology because it facilitates the project, what you can say, the flow chart, the workflow of the project management over the life cycle of the project. So you can manage the project and you can manage even the workflow of each procedure of project management within this software. It's not only about data collection or data presentation, but also about the responsibilities and the accountabilities of each of the procedures of project management. So this is one of the softwares. There are many, of course, but this is the one that I have worked with. Any questions?
So,
Yes. The one that was changing the plan, right? How you can find what? Okay. Okay. You mean like the parametric design and things like that? Yes, the one that changed shape with. Okay, this is actually not a new technology. It has been there for a while. There is, for example, one of the buildings that I show is I forgot the name, but it's a twin tower in Abu Dhabi. It's a bank, I think, Al-Ittihad Bank or something like that. This is actually using parametric design to simulate the motion of the sun, so it opens and closes with the motion of the sun to save energy and things like that. This is one application of parametric design. So. This is programming, and this is what's disruptive in this technology. It is there. There are many providers. There is nothing in my mind now, but there are several designers that can use this. There are several software also, even the traditional softwares that have been there for a while, like Grasshopper, like Maya, like things like that, already have some, you can say, built-in tools or add-ons that you can use. They are there. They are in Saudi Arabia, they are in Dubai, and they are in Egypt. They are in the area. Right, other questions? Okay, thank you so much.